Everyone, I don't care who you are, I don't care if you're Donald Trump or Kim Kardashian, the first time you're in front of the camera, you get stiff, people get weird, they freeze up, they stop talking, but it doesn't take long. I mean, you film content even for a couple months, it's like putting in reps at the gym. You get so much more comfortable to where the camera shot completely goes away. And this process
Yep.
becomes enjoyable because if you do it long enough to see the benefits and you start meeting amazing people, your business starts growing. You start going to events and getting recognized by people that you want to be recognized by. When that starts to happen, it becomes addicting. And that's where people really go into it. And it doesn't happen in 1 month. It doesn't necessarily even happen in 3 months. But I promise, I've seen it happen over and over in 6 months, even if you stay consistent, you are going to start to see some of the beginning benefits of this. And then it just compounds from there. The growth is not linear, it compounds. And it truly starts to roll in 1 year, 2 years, and then like you mentioned, 3 years, you become a different person. Your business transforms entirely. Your brand in the marketplace transforms entirely. There's just so many benefits across the board.
What is up, Entrepreneur DNA? I am back, and if you know anything about me, I believe in building a personal brand, and if you have a company, building a consumer brand around your company. My guest today is one of the leaders in this space, media scaling, and Logan Forsyth has been able to, in just under 24 months, been able to have 5 billion views on social media platforms, as well as increased roughly 24 million followers and subscribers on multiple social media platforms. So, media scaling co founder Logan Forsyth is here. What's up, dude?
What's going on, Justin? It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, dude, this is something I'm incredibly passionate about. For all those people that know me for the podcast and follow me on social medias, I recognized something a couple years ago, which was the brand of Justin Colby is what's going to give me runway for more opportunities, more financial opportunities, more relationships. And so let's dive in here. Being that you deal with some of the most recognizable names within social media sphere, and we can leave the names out, you deal with some of the most recognizable brands, corporate brands, again leaving the names out. What is your suggestion to the person listening to this, or maybe even watching this on Instagram, social media, YouTube? What should they be doing for the personal side of this? What's your first suggestion for those individuals?
Yeah, it varies greatly depending on if you are just getting started with your personal brand or if you've already built your foundation and are more established and have been creating content ongoing. We really, our bread and butter is scaling market leading brands and just amplifying what they have in place and throwing fuel on the fire. We've really pioneered what we've coined as the sub account strategy. And so we no longer live in a world to where on social media, you should just have one Instagram account and one YouTube channel and one TikTok account and one Facebook page and one Snapchat, one Twitter or X and one LinkedIn, which most people don't even have all those accounts set up, and you absolutely should. But you should have 5 Instagram accounts, 5 TikToks, 5 YouTubes, so on and so forth, and can take it even further depending on the media systems that you have in place. And so
Mhm.
our bread and butter is we go in and we work with market leading personal brands and consumer brands who already consistently are putting out content, and it's quality because quality has to come first before you input quantity into the mix as well. But then building out these sub accounts allow us to distribute thousands of additional pieces of content per month per client we work with. We post minimum 1,200 times per month, and depending on the client, can go much further than that as well. And so we'll come in with an entire media division of editors, social media managers, team leader, graphic designer, clips coordinator, and everyone's world class to make sure that, again, the quality aspect is there. But then we can distribute much more content and specialize in short form video. That's the vertical video like Instagram Reels or YouTube Shorts or TikTok that you see everywhere, usually 3 minutes or less. And the game really has become over the last few years, the platforms have switched from a following feed to a For You page. And we're constantly being served interest based content, much more than just based on who we follow. And every single time you post a short form video across any platform that I just listed out, majority of the reach, 50 to 99%, depending on how many views you get, goes to non-followers, people who do not
Mhm.
follow you yet. And the reach is targeted based on interests using the same trillions of data points that they use for advertising. And when I say they, I mean the platforms that you're posting on. So every single time you post, well, the game has now become every single time you post short form content, if you understand that 50% plus of that reach gets served to targeted non followers, meaning hundreds, thousands, potentially millions of new people you get in front of for free because the organic reach is free and it's targeted. The game has now become how do we post as much short form content as possible across platforms so you're building omnipresence and you don't build platform dependence and people are seeing you everywhere while maintaining top quality. And that's really what we've pioneered. That's what we do. We do it with performance-based pricing, satisfaction guaranteed, and we've been able to have a lot of success and a lot of results doing this for many market-leading brands on the personal brand side and the consumer brand side.
Yeah, so someone like myself, obviously, I lean really heavily, and we were just talking about this right now with my team, is more consistent posting, reels,
Yep.
selfie style, all the way to like the highly edited videos. Do you suggest one or another, right? So sometimes my team's like, that doesn't look as good as this, right? The highly nicely edited with the
Mhm.
and to me, because I'm surrounded by people like yourself, I'm kind of like, everyone is just telling me keep posting regardless of perfection or not for what you're saying. What would you suggest someone that like me, I don't have a problem posting the imperfections. Like I don't care, right? Like I don't have to be perfectly posed with perfect lighting. What is your suggestion with those, individuals trying to like over critique themselves? Or what about even so with that part one? Is highly edited, does it really move the needle or not? And then part 2, uh, what would be like a frequency of posts that you would say someone should be focusing on? And I kinda just use Instagram as the number 1 platform for this that you can then go distribute the same thing, but let's just say Instagram to start.
Yeah, great question. So starting with part one, we have posted over 500,000 pieces of content over the last 2 years. We've tracked everything. Billions of views have come from that. And we do have data that shows overall higher production quality leads to better results. Now, that's not to say that the more imperfection, if you will, or just like pulling out your phone, doing selfie style video doesn't work. It absolutely does work. We've seen plenty of content pieces and plenty of people build up large followings on socials by doing that. And so you can do a blend of both. I love your mindset of, hey, I'm under the mindset of getting things out versus it needing to always be perfect. Because reality is all the people who win the most, that's the mindset that they have. And you can always put better systems in place, better team in place, etc., as you continue to grow and build to get things more and more perfect over time. But you also still see a lot of the top creators, and I'm assuming that everyone in the audience are business owners, investors, or aspiring to get there. And so if we look at the top personal brands such as Alex Hermosi or Gary Vee or Grant Cardone, you see them do still a mix of both, right? And kind of lean towards majority of the content being higher produced, better video quality, editing that goes into it, but you still see them cadence in some of the like maybe green screen is the in-app type of edit to where you're filming on your phone and you have like something showing behind you or just doing a selfie video or whatever as like a smaller cadence. I think if you're early on in your journey, don't let your content needing to be perfect hold you back from posting. Start posting as long as it's value driven. And as you can add in higher and higher levels of production over time, that's what you should aim for. Because another thing that people don't talk about, it's not just the views and the engagement, but it's also brand that we build through posting out content. And when you have
Mhm.
high production quality across the board and your editing is on point, the video, the lighting, the audio is on point, just the content looks great and it's also great in terms of the value that you're providing. All of that leads to brand. And people think that you have a more premium brand in that if whatever business is that you have tied to your socials, they probably will assume that they're more dialed in because your front end socials are so dialed in, your production quality is so high on the front end as well. And so there's a lot of value to be said about that alone, on top of just the views and engagement metrics.
As many of you know, I'm constantly on the move, juggling multiple businesses, traveling, and ensuring I get my morning workouts in. Staying fresh isn't just a preference, it's a necessity. But let's face it, after back-to-back meetings, juggling 2 kids at home, and the hustle and bustle of everyday life, body odor can become an issue. But here's the deal. Mando has revolutionized how I stay fresh. This isn't just another deodorant, it's clinically proven to control odor better than a shower alone with soap. My favorite scent, bourbon leather, it's fresh, is subtle, and doesn't clash with my cologne. And I was surprised by how well the solid stick works, even after an intense morning workout. Mando's starter pack is perfect for the new customer. It comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like a mini body wash or a deodorant wipe, and free shipping. As a special offer for listeners and new customers, you get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% of your starter pack. Use code Colby at shopmando.com. That is shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from the head to the toe with Mando.
So I want to follow that up with how often should people be posting, but really something that's top of my mind right now. I had a buddy of mine. So the podcast has done incredibly well, right?
Mhm.
And so there's companies that sponsor the podcast. And that is a business I basically run within the podcast, right? For example,
Yep.
Media Scaling could be a sponsor for the podcast to be on every episode, right? One of the comments my buddy was like, as we were talking about social media and how my podcast is really blown up and how social media in my world, my true Instagram, I'm measuring Instagram, like my level of engagement relative to how big my podcast goes is like crazy different, right?
Mhm.
And what do you talk to me, but also talk to everybody about this engagement and likes and that, like, does it matter as much that there's hyper engagement on a post? Does that still play into the reach you want? Like, I'm not worried about going viral in the sense of like
Mhm.
just being cool because I'm viral. Does that make sense?
Yep.
I don't make funny
Right. Yeah,
videos.
the
I don't make,
metrics. Yep.
you know, anime videos for virality. Does that make sense?
Yep. Totally.
So talk to us a little bit about how often people should try to really genuinely post. Like, what is
Yep.
your best, right? There's good, there's great, then there's best. The best version would be you post 4 times a day in your thread, you post 8 times a day on Reels, and I'm using Instagram because it's probably the most popular utilized, I'm guessing. So what is your best metric? And then maybe what's good and or great and then good. And then also, um, let's talk about engagement. Let's talk about,
Yep.
likes. The shit that, to me, by the way, I think that's more ego driven. Personally, I could be totally wrong, but Justin, actually, there's a big algorithm that works towards that. But like when people like shit or comment, like I think that's just the ego saying, I want to be loved. I want to be liked. I want people to love me, right? Where does it really fucking even matter in the algorithm of the social media world?
Mhm. Totally. Yeah. So starting with the first part in terms of how much content should you aim to post, we have we're huge on data. We track everything, and at the end of the day, data doesn't lie. That's the truth that we seek. So we posted or tested posting volumes across platforms anywhere from 1 post per day up to 12 posts per day per account, and it's changed over time. Like my answer a year and a half, 2 years ago. It's different than today. And there's
Yeah.
always variables to this as well. But overall, I will say with the amount of data that we have to back this, we see best results posting 2 times per day per account across platforms. Again, there's variables, there's exceptions, there's accounts that crush it posting more than that, there's accounts that crush it posting less than that. But when to the audience that we're speaking to and for personal brands and business owners and people who want to create more informative content that ties into a business that they have. And that's the whole reason that we're creating is to grow the business and make more money, right? Generally, we see best results 2 posts per day per account across platforms. A huge mistake that a lot of people make, if they're especially earlier on, is some people will post twice per day on Instagram, and then that's it. And they're not posting that short form content on other platforms as well. With short form video, you should post across all platforms because it works across all platforms. And it is a fact, undisputable, that if you post across platforms versus on just one, you're going to get more views, even if you're not as engaged or active on the other platforms. And that's where team comes into play. And you can have a social media manager who's doing this for you. And so if you're going to get more views, if you create 2 short form videos per day, and let's say Instagram is your main preferred platform, but then you also still post those on TikTok, on YouTube Shorts, on LinkedIn, on X, on Snapchat, which is almost nobody has. And it's a platform. It's there. There's hundreds of millions. There's 400 million plus active users daily on Snapchat. 55% who are 25 and up. That means there's over 200 million people who are daily active users on Snapchat, 25 and older. And we've had
Wow.
a good bit of success on that platform just because nobody's there. And so there's less competition,
Mhm.
there's less saturation, and there's value in building an audience everywhere. And
Yeah.
it is high leverage to do this because the cost that goes into posting across platforms is very low comparatively. A lot of people ask, should you post natively in the platform? Should you use third-party posting and scheduling tools? There's a lot of debate around this. The platforms will tell you it doesn't matter. Other people will tell you it doesn't matter. Again, there's exceptions. There are people who have had a lot of success using third-party scheduling tools. We, again, have tested this ourselves and have data behind hundreds of thousands of posts to show we've seen better results natively posting in each platform. So our social media managers, they natively post through Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok in each platform, and you can schedule posts inside of the native platform, but we're not using third-party scheduling tools. And so over time, that's where I recommend that you build to when, again, you have a team. Now, if you're being scrappy and you have a team member who also wears a bunch of different other hats, or maybe it's you in the beginning doing this, then it's better to use a scheduling tool versus posting nothing, right? And so that's where I would
Right.
recommend starting and then building up to natively posting in the platform over time. Two
Yep.
videos per day, short form, is an amazing target. And then the people who are also seeing great results also cadence in long form because that's where you can really nurture your audience, that you can create a much more watch time and retention a lot faster. There's a rule I like called the 7-11-4 rule, to where if people watch 7 hours of your content across minimum 11 different impressions over 4 platforms, they're going to buy anything you sell if they're a fit for what you
Mhm.
do. And so doing that is what creates that 7-11-4 rule. And the short form content becomes your top of funnel. It is the fastest way to create as much new reach, new awareness, and get you out there in front of as many new targeted people as possible. And then you want to funnel that all back down to your long form content, and free lead magnets is what we see work really well, of going from short form to now owning your customers, at least information, collecting emails. And so free lead magnets can be newsletters, work awesome, free courses. If you have a free tool like in real estate, if you have an underwriting tool for your asset class, um, things along those lines. Free community works really great.
Yeah.
And then you have the podcast. That's your long form content. You probably
Yeah.
have a lot of people who are listening who have listened to tens or even hundreds of hours of you at this point. And that would not have happened if you were only doing short form. So that's where long form comes into play as well. And that I consider long form deeper into the funnel. I consider that a little bit more mid funnel versus top of funnel when we're talking about the overall like nurturing of your audience, if you will, and leading them to become buyers for your business or your fund or whatever it is that you do.
Dude, this is so great. I mean, I literally am so happy I brought in my social media manager who does almost everything, right? Like just so for example, I just posted kind of an organic reel. I just had something kind of top of mind on the heart, so to speak. Like
Yeah.
I've been posting very sequentially recently about my morning routine. Like every
Okay.
single day, I've been posting like 5 a.m. making my coffee, 5:15 journaling, 6
Love it.
a.m. gym, like in a every single day. Now, you may have some thoughts around this. For me, it's kind of just showing my audience like the regiment and the discipline I have to do the things that I do. And there's a lot of people, because of my platform and because of, my education business and everything else, they look up to me. So this is a little inspirational, a little aspirational, a little motivational, right? But also
Mm,
kind of like, I'm committed to make these damn posts, but you guys can't even wake up before 7 a.m. Right?
mhm.
So I made a general reel literally like 20 minutes before this, and I posted it. I wrote one thing for my haters. I didn't write a diatribe. And I just voiced that. I said, for all of you out there snickering in your head, for all of you out there, hating on me or whatever, go ahead and unfollow me, because the reason I post those is to show discipline within myself to be able to wake up like that, to be able to journal, take time. I don't just talk about it and be like, "Oh, I'm an early riser and I win the day."
Yeah.
It's not theory, right? It's in practice. Talk to us about like virality. Do posts more go viral because and grow followers? Viral is a little, I don't know, overplayed, right? Like everyone wants to just continue the growth of their social media. Like I don't know if you need to go have 100 million view viral video, right? What is a better recipe? Something organic and raw like that kind of is just calling it out. Um, does stories play into any type of growth at all? Talk to those points.
Yeah. The best creators create all of their content where it is going to speak and apply to their existing audience, but it's also for new people who have never heard of them before. And when you find that magic zone of both, one, again, you're nurturing your existing audience, and that's always something that we want to do. We want to build, closer relationships with them, but also you're creating content that's putting yourself in better chances of it getting exposed to a lot of new people, considering that 50% plus of the short form video reach goes to non-followers. It's interesting when you look at Instagram insights as of today, and this has been the case for a while now. When you post pictures, whether it's a single picture or a carousel post, almost all of that reach only goes to your followers. So
Mm,
it's usually like 90, 95% plus only goes to your existing audience. And so I look at those types of posts as really great for nurturing your audience. And you should still do some level of cadence of that as well, because it does a much better job of getting in front of your existing audience. When you post reels on Instagram, that's the short form video, that's where 50% plus of the reach goes to non followers. And higher performing reels, I actually see average results between 60 to 75% of the reach going to non followers. But that also means that less of it goes to your existing audience, right? And so it
mhm.
is a complete misnomer and false belief that posting a lot of short form content will overwhelm your audience. It's not the case at all. The algorithms are different today, and they've been designed in a way to where you're not overwhelming your existing audience because of what we're speaking about. So to draw back and answer your question, I think raw really performs well. I think it's polarizing to a degree because when you're raw and you're saying to my haters, or you're talking about something of like I'm posting at 5 a.m. before you're even waking up and you don't even post, etc. Like there's polarization to that, right? And I think it's amazing because that's who you are. It's true to your brand. It's true to your values and beliefs, and it's going to really make people who align with you love you more, and then people who don't align with you hate you, which is polarization. But
Yeah.
the most influential people in the world are also the most polarizing. I mean, let's look at Donald Trump. Let's look at Kim Kardashian, Conor McGregor. Like they're extremely influential, extremely polarizing, and they get the most hate out of anyone. But that's because that's what it takes. That's how it goes. And so, as long as you are being raw and real and leaning into polarization in a way that's true to who you are, I always recommend it. Where people go wrong is I see a lot of people take polarizing takes or do things that are not in true alignment with them just because they're in the pursuit and chasing views. And that's where things go awry, and you're building a brand that you probably won't want in a few years out, or whatever the case. Or maybe you post a video and it goes quote unquote viral, it gets hundreds of thousands, millions of views, but there's a lot of hate coming in. And then it's like, man, that honestly doesn't fully align with me, because people aren't just thinking long term with what they're putting out either. Um, so that's overall like my advice on those points. I also want to answer your question on engagement earlier. I forgot to touch on that. And so, does engagement matter? And how much of it is just vanity of like, this makes me feel good, it's a dopamine hit, versus how much of it does matter? Um, I would say it's a blend of both. And the top metric that we pay attention to, the easiest one, is just views. Every algorithm is designed a little bit different in terms of what engagement metrics they pay attention to for deciding pieces of content that get more views, more reach than others. Um, but engagement does matter to a degree. It's not just about likes and comments anymore. Hashtags are not going to save you and make you go viral. The platforms have gotten very, very good at categorizing your content now without even using hashtags. It's like it's a tool in the toolbox, but it's a very small tool overall. And so what I like to pay attention to are ratios. And so things that we're looking at are views or impressions, and then taking it into a ratio of views to profile visits, views to link clicks, views to follows, because that shows me the quality of these views, right? If they're like, if you get a ton of views and very little profile visits, very little followers, very little link clicks that come from it, that's not high quality views overall, because it's not really doing much for your brand. And it probably exposed you to a lot of people who you don't even care to be in front of, who they may
Sure.
not see you again unless you talk about that topic again. And so when we see a higher ratio of each of those metrics, again, views to profile visits, views to follows, and views to link clicks, that is a huge metric of quality. And that's what we really want to chase. Now, likes, comments, shares, all that falls in between it. There's some metrics that we look at for Instagram. Views to share ratio is a very big ratio. Like, Instagram has
Mm.
articles that literally tell you how their algorithm is designed for ranking content. And they tell us directly views to shares is a big ratio they pay attention to. Instagram, out of all platforms, I would say is the best designed to share content. That share button is just right there in front of your face. It's a big DM platform. You can share it to your story. There's just way more shareable aspects to it overall. And again, it can kind of vary per platform. But overall, if you are creating engaging content, and I'd say another big tip before I finish my ramble is, when you're a personal brand and you're creating content to grow your business, just get specific about who is your ICP, meaning your ideal client profile or your ideal customer profile. Like, who is that perfect customer client for your business? And create content for them. Speak to them in your content, because what we've been talking about, the targeted non-follower reach, the platform is now smart enough to where if you speak to your ideal client, your content is going to get served to your ideal client. You can literally call them out in your content. You can mention them in your captions and pinned comments, and the platform is going to serve it to those people accordingly. And you don't want to bucket in and like say the same thing in every video or only talk about one topic. But for me, I live and breathe entrepreneurship. And so, yes, we are a social media growth firm. And so a lot of what I talk about is social media growth, but I also talk about business in general. I talk about my marriage and how that relates to both of us being entrepreneurs and building businesses together. I talk about lifestyle, the morning routine, like all those aspects still speak to our ICP. And so you can be well rounded, but make sure that all of it is, at the end of the day, relatable to who you want to be attracting in your content.
God, I love this. Like, part of what I want to do is I want to give you my metrics and be like, bro, what do you think about these metrics? Because me and
Yeah.
my team always feel like it's underwhelming. We're like, and by no means am I some big influencer, right? Like, I have 115,000, followers. I even looked randomly last night. Like, I'll gain 20, 25, 30, but then I'll lose 18, right? So like, my needle
Very
never
normal. Very normal.
moves.
Yeah.
Very normal. So what are so two questions before I forget them. What are some normal like statistics with that, with like viewership percentage basis, growth basis, like, for example, like if I have 115,000 sub or followers on Instagram as an example, most of my reels, will get 1,500 to 3,000 views, give or take. And I
Okay.
could look real time for you. And then some get 5,000 and some get 7,000 and some will get more. But I'm just saying in a general sense, 1,500 to 3,000 views. Is that god awful? Because I'm not impressed by it. I will tell you that. But or is that like kind of standard with the metric of 115,000 to 1,500 to 3 grand? I mean, that's 1% to 2%. Is that normal?
I'll say with love, it's on the lower end. If
Sure.
usually when I see audiences that or brands that have around, let's call it 100,000 followers, I like from on Instagram from a reels like average view per post perspective. There's a huge metric that we track and pay attention to. I would like to see it be somewhere between like 5 to 15,000 views per video, because that what that means is a large portion of your audience is engaged with what's being put out, and also
Mm,
you're going to see consistent growth with that. And then the game of growth for when it comes to organic content and organic reach is when you're putting out posts, you want to see some level of consistency. It's going to be slower, but some level of just consistent growth month over month in terms of views, in terms of audience, etc. But really, what moves the needle are you're going to have these outlier posts that will hit. And let's say your average view per post is 5 to 15,000, but then you have that post that gets a million views, or you have that post that gets 150,000 views. Those are what really move the needle. And like a million view post can bring in 5, 10,000 followers within 1 or 2 days, right? And
yeah.
so the game is like the more that happens as well, that's where you see these huge inflection, exponential points of growth, cadenced in with the consistent growth from more of the average like baseline content that's going out. And ways to improve this is one, like ChatGPT is so incredible. I've gotten it really integrated and indoctrinated with everyone on our team. Like it's a huge part of our culture now. And this was a recent shift. I've used it since it became a bigger known thing in 2022. But I would truly say from my experience, like I've seen massive improvement with it, even over the last 4 to 6 months, but really like the since 2025 towards the end of 2024, to where used to a lot of scripts or copy or whatever that it would give me, I'd be like, yeah, it's like a good starting point. It's 50% there, whatever. There's a lot of tweaking. Now I feel like a lot of time it's like 90% there. And I don't even need to
Mm,
change things, or it's better than what I would even do on things that I've like copywriting studied for 9 years. And so with ChatGPT, you can get really clear of the more context you give it, the more accurate answers it'll give you, and feed it everything about your business. Like feed it your website, feed it case studies, feed it sales calls transcripts, feed it everything that you know about your best clients or customers, and then ask it based on all the context that you have for us, put together who is my perfect ideal client profile or ideal customer profile. I want to know age, demographics, titles, interest, business, revenue, profit ranges, etc. Just get it very descriptive, and you'll be shocked of like what it puts together is really, really good. And you can go back and forth, like refine it. If it's not quite there on the first prompt it gives you, like keep diving into it. But it doesn't take long for you to get a really great ICP just profile for your perfect customer, your perfect client. And then that is your content strategy. You can use ChatGPT now to let you know it's like, okay, build me a content strategy based on all the topics that I should talk about and types of content I should talk about that's going to really resonate with my ICP once it has that information. And it's crazy good. And then you can use
mm,
that to also come up with like all these topics and subcategories and combined with using ChatGPT itself for video hooks, ideas, etc., you can also use two tools that we use a lot: TikTok search and viewstats.com. TikTok search is free, but TikTok has largely become the best search platform for short form content. It's a search engine. And so a lot of traffic comes from that alone. And so you can put any keyword you want. Let's just something very broad like real estate investing in there, and it's going to serve you all the top content for that keyword of real estate investing. And then you can get more specific and you can say multifamily real estate investing or flex space or whatever the case. And then you could add different tells on the end of it of multifamily real estate investing tips and multifamily real estate investing mistakes and so on and so forth. And that starts to serve you a lot of top performing content in those spaces. And you do this and really study the top performing content for your keywords for 4 hours and a cup of coffee. Just sit down and do this. You become an expert in your space, truly. Like you know what's working the best, and don't copy and paste what's working, but model and innovate. Take those same content types and also the hooks and really the hook framework and make it your own, because you're now going off of proven data of what works the best on social media versus just coming up with, I think this will work. I think people will like this, because that's putting you in a much better position to succeed. So you do all of that, it's pretty easy to create a really compelling, effective content strategy for your ideal client profile, customer profile. And to your point, not everyone needs 100,000 followers. Not everyone needs millions of views per month. Like, depending on your business model, for us, we're B2B. And so right now, like, our constraint more in the company is operations and also just like building out the sales team further, to where I'm not in a position, like we're not focused on a lot more lead flow and traffic. And our true ICP are typically 8 to 10 figure business owners for personal brands and for consumer brands. Like that's really our zone of genius and all of our best clients who've seen biggest level of results, because their business is so well positioned to really just see tons of value when we're generating 5 to 100 million plus views per month for them. And so that's a very niche, small pocket of people. So I'm not in the game of needing to build my audience and get massive view counts, as long as I'm consistently getting in front of more of our ICP in that small pocket. And that's usually the case with B2B business owners. And that's why with our service, we're focused on personal brands and consumer brands who want even more of a mass market approach, because that's where the true value from this really comes from. So needless to say, again, if you have a more niche service and a high value per customer or client, you don't need to be in the game of building this massive audience, as long as you have a really quality audience of even 30,000, 50,000 people that can massively move the needle for you.
Dude, this is so good. So good. So, because everyone, like, my analogy is going to be like, you're the hot chick at the bar, dude. Everyone
Yeah.
wants
Yeah.
to know, how do you win at social media, right? Like,
Uh-huh.
if you have any service or product, or just want to build your brand to be an influencer, whatever it is, like, everyone wants to figure this out, dude. So this is great. Talk to me about people. Let's start with just people. How can someone really, like, I'm gonna put on an event. This is the first time I've even verbalized on anything. Literally 1 month from today, me and my partner are putting on a creators monetization conference, and it's
Okay.
podcast
Awesome.
creators, Instagram and social media influencers, people who have products, people who have coaching products, YouTube monetization, like just monetizing all of it. What are you telling the person right now? Why should someone take social media seriously right now? Like, what should they be thinking about? Why should they be taking it seriously? How does it relate to their longevity of business? What would be a sales pitch to someone that's like, I'm scared. I don't want to do this. This is annoying, right? Or whatever. What's your sales pitch to that person? Like, guys, you have to do this for this reason.
Yep. Yep. It's building a brand. And really, like, if you're gonna go one route or the other, building a personal brand or consumer brand first, I'm a bigger fan of going the personal brand and then
Yeah.
getting to a place to where you build both. But
Yeah.
also your personal brand will build the consumer brand or the B2B brand on the back end as well. But when you have a brand, it opens so many doors for you in so many ways. Like the fact when you have a personal brand, you are the hot chick at the bar, right? Like people want to talk with you, people want to connect with you. You get invited to events and conversations that you otherwise would not. You have connections open up from you. And a huge thing that people don't focus on with this and don't really talk about too much is recruiting. When you have a personal brand and you use your socials to directly recruit to someone, like when we need to hire a key position, I'll go on LinkedIn and I'll find people who look like the perfect fit for that position. And now with the brand that I built, it's not even massive, but it shows a lot of legitimacy and authority, if you will. When I reach out, I get responses and it starts conversations, and we're able to bring in incredible world-class talent from that alone. I also like from my socials, will also post like a story when you hire a position. And again, we've gotten amazing world-class talent from sourcing from our audience and socials as well. And that leads into massive results on the business side. But also, all of us are focused on hearing about AI constantly. I believe having a personal brand is one of the ultimate hedges against AI, because as AI becomes more and more prevalent over time, people are going to crave human connection. And there's
Mm,
no better way and higher leverage way to build human connection with as many people as possible in as short amount of time and effort as possible than a personal brand, right? And so personal brands, I think, are going to really win out even more over the coming 5, 10 years as well. And if you have had success without a personal brand, I promise you, watch what happens when you do have one. Your ads are going to perform better. Your marketing performs better. Your email outreach performs better. Your mailers perform better. Everything that you have, your cold calls perform better because a lot of your prospects are researching you before they make the decision to ever talk to you or your team or go through your ad or whatever it is the case. And if you don't have an established personal brand, there's a huge portion of that audience, they're never going to talk to you again because you don't, it's the new modern day business card. It's like if you go to a networking event and you don't have a business card and you don't have any way to get people's contact information, what are you going to get out of that? Nothing. Right. And so if you don't have the new modern day business card of a personal brand and online presence on socials, you're missing out on a lot of money and a lot of opportunity. We'll even talk to people who's
mm.
like, yeah, I've had a lot of success. I've built a business doing 5 million, 10 million a year without the personal brand. Why do I need it? And my response is you probably be
What
at
if?
10 or 20 if you did have one. Like you would be at
Yeah,
a bigger rate because of the brand that you build. A lot of people don't understand brand truly.
dude. I look at it like this. In my opinion, everybody is in the business of sales. Everybody, right?
Mm.
Like it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what you do. If you are a videographer, if you are a graphic designer, I don't care what you are. If you're a doctor, like you need clients, you need people, you need to be paid. And in fact, even if you are more of the W-2 employee type who will never be the entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. You need that boss to want to hire you, right? Like effectively, you will just always make more money, in my opinion. You're the expert, but I have an opinion on it. If you have a good personal brand on social media, you don't need to be an influencer. You don't need to be, famous. You don't even need to be an entrepreneur, in my opinion. Like you don't need to only use it for the entrepreneur selling and making money, although I encourage it. Like
Mhm.
everyone, it's your resume these days. It is everything people want to know about you, right? The first thing I did when I was introduced to you being on this podcast, what is the first thing I did?
Mhm.
Went and checked you out on social media.
Yep. Totally.
First thing, right? And it's the first thing people do with me. Hey, I heard this
Right.
guy, Justin Colby, or I saw him on stage, or I heard his podcast. Like, who is this guy? They go to social media. They don't necessarily
Right.
Google, they go to
Mhm.
Instagram, right? They'll go to their favorite social media. And what the hell was the last thing he posted about? And so I would make the argument, dude, everybody. And I mean, I'm so serious that I'm literally putting on an event now, and I would actually invite you to be kind of a part of this. We're going to do it quarterly because I'm so serious about building that personal brand over time. And I think the last thing I would say, now I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, but like people don't give social media its due credit because they want to take a snapshot of what has happened in 30. Did I grow 50,000 subscribers in 30 days or 40? But if you give yourself a runway
Right.
and you stay consistent, it's the same thing I kind of posted about today. The reason why I'm showing you my consistency of discipline of waking up early, going to the gym, writing my, because if I just do this long enough, right, I will be a totally different human in a year or 2 or 3 from now, right? And so
Yep.
I think people need to give social media its due time to build that brand.
Yep. Yep. 100%. Yeah. To your point, it's people don't really Google people that much anymore. They go straight to socials. When they get introduced, you want to look up someone because you're going to get way better, more genuine information when you go to socials. And there
100%.
are very legitimate in-depth studies that show even if you are a W-2 employee or whatever the case, you don't have to be a business owner. If you do have a personal brand and create content, there are studies that show that you make a lot more money and get the best job opportunities in the marketplace as a result as well. Look it up, Google it, ChatGPT it, it's there. Like all the facts are undeniable behind it. It's also something to where you're totally right. A lot of people just give up too soon, and they'll do this for a month and they don't see the needle massively move and they stop. Um, but it's something to where if you zoom out and you look at this as a 5-year, 10-year play, one is when people look at anything they do with a longer term mindset, they're more successful. They make more money. I've studied many of history's greatest founders, business owners, entrepreneurs who have built many multi-billionaire things. And a very commonality is all of them focused on the same company for decades. They're not just bouncing around from one thing to the next and blah, blah, blah. And they have that long-term focus. That same thing needs to happen with your brand as well. Because if you don't have that, you're going to burn out or you're going to get beat by the people who do. And this is not
Mm,
something that you just do for a couple months. It's something that you do ongoing. So one, you have to ask yourself of like, how can I remove friction? Like that's something Gary Vee talks about a lot. And a way that he's removed friction is he just has a videographer there kind of follow him around in his day to day for a lot of stuff that he does. And you can start to build your business around creating content. Are you doing coaching calls? Do you enjoy talking to great people in your space? Start a podcast. Like I'm sure you enjoy this. Otherwise, you wouldn't do it, right? And it's allowed you to build so many connections that have become very fruitful for you from a friendship perspective, but also a business perspective. And you get amazing
yep.
content out of it. You build an audience out of it. So it checks all these boxes where it's just a no-brainer. And so you have to find like what are those more enjoyable, less friction types of content you create as well. Like I've kind of been experimenting. I like to draw. Like I've always liked to, if I'm in meetings, like using a whiteboard and stuff. And so we recently started putting out more content to where I'm at this table and I have a big paper and I'm like drawing to represent what I'm talking about. And it's way more personally enjoyable for me to do that versus just talking into a camera. And I look forward
Mm,
to doing it, right? And so you can find and just experiment with things that are more enjoyable for you to where this becomes fun and it doesn't become like a chore. And it's also just like going to the gym. Everyone, I don't care who you are, I don't care if you're uh, Donald Trump or Kim Kardashian, the first time you're in front of the camera, you get stiff. It's called camera shot. Like it's just people get weird, they freeze up, they stop talking. But it doesn't take long. I mean, you film content even for a couple months. It's like putting in reps at the gym. You start
right.
benching the bar, and then next thing you know, you're throwing on tens and then you're throwing on 25s on the edge and you're building your muscle. Same thing happens when you're recording content in front of the camera. You get so much more comfortable to where the camera shot completely goes away. That's not a thing at
Mm,
all. You become like rubber skin to hate and negative feedback and whatever. Like you never met a hater doing better than you in the first place, right? And so who cares? Like all of that, you really just become numb to it. And this process
yep.
becomes enjoyable because if you do it long enough to see the benefits and you start meeting amazing people, your business starts growing. You start going to events and getting recognized by people that you want to be recognized by. This is not something to where you start going out and like random people who watch TV at 4 p.m. on a Monday are recognizing you, right? That's not what happens when you are a business owner and you build a personal brand. The audience you build are people that you want to know you. It's not becoming famous. And so all those things considered, when that starts to happen, it becomes addicting, and that's where people really go into it. And it doesn't happen in 1 month. It doesn't necessarily even happen in 3 months. But I promise, I've seen it happen over and over in 6 months. Even if you stay consistent, you are going to start to see some of the beginning benefits of this, and then it just compounds from there. The growth is not linear; it compounds, and it truly starts to roll in 1 year, 2 years, and then, like you mentioned, 3 years. You become a different person. Your business transforms entirely. Your brand in the marketplace transforms entirely, and there's just so many benefits across the board.
Where can everyone find you? Who are you kind of looking to work with? Like, who would be an ideal client? Does someone already need to have some massive following before they work with you? Talk a little bit about how media scaling can, what their model is, and who should be reaching out to you and finding you.
Yeah, totally. So I'm on socials, Logan Forsyth, and then our company where we do this for personal brands to consumer brands is mediascaling.com. We have amazing free resources. We have an email, social media newsletter. It's truly some of the best like tactical social media information and updates that are coming out weekly, 5 minutes or less in your inbox. That's scalingedgenews.com. And we also have a really great free course around all of this, giving hundreds of viral hook templates, and just like our viral content checklist that we follow, and making all of this very easy to do overall. It's called Billion View Secrets. You can get that at mediascaling.com/secrets. And then if you want to work with us on more of a in-depth level and you want us to scale your socials with performance-based pricing, satisfaction guaranteed, we really do that for personal brands who are 5 million and up per year and consumer brands who are 10 million and up per year, because you have the business to really capitalize on this and see massive results that come through it. We're across the board generating each of our clients 5 million to 100 million plus views per month when we get this built out and start to scale up. And all that leads to results in your business. And then if you are a business owner who you're new to creating content, you want to start, or maybe you're doing it, but you're not seeing the growth that you want, or things feel messy, you don't have systems in place, we can also help you on a coaching side as well. And so that's really for business owners who are content focused between that like 10 to 100,000 per month range. We have an amazing coaching program to help you scale up, build your foundation, start seeing a lot more results coming in across socials as well.
That's rad. Guys, if you're watching this guy is awesome. Make sure you're following him, ask him more questions. Go to mediascaling.com.
Mediascaling.com, a lot of it's there. If you want billion view secrets, it has a lot of free resources. It's a free course. I truly believe giving a lot of your best stuff for free. That's at mediascaling.com/secrets.
Guys, go there, get it. And if you guys are out there listening to this and watching me and watching Logan and you're not engaged in social media, please make this the dot. Make this episode like, I got to get going. You may not have all the followers and all the ways to sell online. Who cares? Get going, building your brand. Logan, it's been a pleasure. Very excited that we were able to connect and have you on, dude.
Yeah, Justin, appreciate it, brother. It's amazing what you've built, the brand that you have, and you've seen the benefit from it. And I can tell that you have a lot of people who you've provided tons of value to and have built an amazing audience and a lot of impact. So I appreciate you, brother. You're the type of person I love to get connected with, and it's an honor to be on the show.
Hell yeah. Now, guys, if this helped you and you think there's one or two people you might know that could use some of this info, share it with 2 of those people, 3 of those people, 10 of those people. This is important to me. It's important to Logan. You guys need to be leveraging this. Share this episode right now. We'll see you with another guest on the next episode. Peace.